So we wanted to check back in with those same voters we spoke to see where they stand right now. So let's welcome back in April Chapman, who is planning to vote for Trump, and Sylvia Chen, who's planning to vote for Biden, and Mary Lofton-Soley, who was undecided. Thank you all for joining us. So I'm going to start with you, Mary, because last week you said you were undecided, but did anything change in your mind after that debate? Or are you going to give it some time?
Yes, it did. And to be perfectly transparent, within the first 15 minutes, I texted a friend of mine at a local radio station and said the Democratic Party should be charged with elder abuse.
Wow.
When he walked out, I can see his whole demeanor was just affected by whatever's going on in his head. I'm not a physician, so I don't know exactly what it is. But Biden has not been our president for a while. And I know the people behind him have known this. I'm trying to figure out why his wife is complicit with this and why they brought him on stage for this debate, because they clearly knew that his mind is misfiring constantly. And part of me felt sorry for him. But as Malcolm X says, the chickens come home to roost. So.
All right. So do you have a candidate in mind? Are you going RFK or are you going Trump?
I'm not going to say.
Okay. That's fair. We still have some road ahead of us. And we want to get to our other panelists here. You know, from Reuters to CNN, Business Insider, and Axios, we are seeing a lot of headlines expressing panic and concern within the Democratic Party over Biden's performance. As we just heard, you know, Mary outlined some of the concerns that other people are saying. I want to start with you, Sylvia, on this. Do you think that President Biden should step aside? Last weekend when we talked to you, you said you were going to vote for Biden no matter what to keep Trump out of the White House. Where do you stand now?
Yeah, I still believe that. And I think it's unfair to judge his whole presidency based on an hour debate. I agree. I don't think it was his best performance ever. But at the end of the day, Biden has done way more for this country. And Trump, although he might be a good speaker, everything he said was a lie, basically. So I don't know how that is instilling more confidence in people's votes for Trump when he's claiming all of these things and almost none of them are true. At the end of the day, you know, I think people's biggest concern is the economy and inflation, and Biden's done more to lower that deficit that Trump added than anyone else has here. So, I mean, I'm still going to vote for Biden. I still think Trump, he says a lot, just like I said last week. I think he proved that in the debate, and I think he needs to be the case when he can say whatever he wants and just say it confidently, and that means people, for some reason, will believe him.
You know, Sylvia, I was down in the Village last night here in New York where Biden made a stop, and a lot of people that were lining the streets who were Biden supporters said, look, he had a bad night, but some people are talking about a possible replacement. We've heard Biden supporters say he is not going to step aside, but if that were to happen, who in your mind would be a possible replacement?
Honestly, it doesn't matter to me who the replacement is. I'm voting for the Democratic Party. I think the Supreme Court decisions that came out in the past 24 hours kind of solidified that for me, as well as they're reversing a lot of huge cases that are really dangerous for the future of our country. And at the end of the day, Biden and his administration, again, are going to do more for LGBTQIA rights, women's rights, and just kind of humanity in general than Trump's administration will.
All right. You know, black voters will be a crucial voting bloc this election. We've been talking about this for weeks. When asked about their impact on the black community, here's what both candidates had to say. And then, April, I'll get with you.
They made a lot of progress, number one. The fact of the matter is there's more small black businesses that have been started than any time in history. Number two, the wages of black unemployment is the lowest level it's been in a long, long time.
The fact is that his big kill on the black people is the millions of people that he's allowed to come in through the border. They're taking black jobs now, and it could be 18, it could be 19, and even 20 million people. They're taking black jobs, and they're taking Hispanic jobs.
Boy, that has been a big issue the last few days. April, do you think President Trump has done more for the black community? And what do you make about that remark about black jobs?
Well, absolutely. I do think that President Trump has a proven track record of being a GOP candidate that is actually interested in all Americans, but he made a concerted effort to reach out to the Black community. Under his first administration, we experienced opportunity zones, funding for HBCUs were increased. I, as a small business owner, experienced overwhelming prosperity under his administration. Oftentimes when Trump communicates, when he uses certain phrases and terminology, it has this ability to trigger some people. However, I just personally cannot get baited into an emotional conversation about choice of words and verbiage and language. He's not a polished politician. He's just a regular person that happens to be a businessman that is very successful.
Mary,
so the Black voter comment didn't offend me at all. And in fact, I think we missed out on seeing what his second term could have been with the Platinum Plan that he presented to the Black community, which was a viable plan of actual tangible things that he was willing to offer the Black community. And we didn't get to experience that because 80 million people voted for President Biden.
Mary, I want to get your take on this as well as you listen to both candidates talk about the Black vote.
Well, I think that the Democrats have done a very good job with, they are a social elitist. So they put a narrative out there that a group to the left, white Americans to the left, say white Americans on the Republican side are racist, which absolutely makes no sense. I think is very condescending. They have they use racism like a dog whistle for us. And the Republicans have a problem with, they don't believe that racism exists or that we are on a level playing field, which I have a problem with them. Not like my Democratic friend. I am not voting for a party. I'm voting for the person. And I will not be voting for Joe Biden or the Biden administration or anyone on their ticket for the fact that the manipulation that they've been doing for the last few years and the gaslighting of America. I don't know how I'm going to vote. I just know I'm not going to vote for the Democratic Party for that reason. And no, I am not a victim. Words don't trigger me. My Blackness, I feel, is a fortunate thing for me. So it doesn't bother me. Even if you are racist, that's your business. You're not crossing my threshold. So that's not a problem in my mind.
All right, Mary, staying in the undecided lane for now. We're also taking a look at the independent candidate RFK Jr. He spoke with News Nation's Elizabeth Vargas as part of our special debate coverage. I'd like you all to take a listen.
70% of Americans said they wanted me on that stage. About between 70 and 80%, depending on what poll you read, do not want to have to choose between President Biden and President Trump. They are tired of choosing the lesser of two evils. They want, another choice. And, hopefully some of them are going to start looking at me.
All right, Mary, what do you say? Do you think you'll start looking at him as a potential option?
Oh, I've been listening to RFK Jr. and Cornel West, who I know personally. I've been listening to him as well. So it would be the same thing as I would write in a vote. And I did that in 2016. I wrote in Prince's name. And I could do that again. So voting for them is like voting for Prince. Neither one of them is going to win. I'm not a Trump hater at all. I think that he will go into the White House and do what he says he's going to do. I find Trump to be a little off center, and I don't mean that as a pejorative. I mean that as a redeeming trait, that he will not kowtow to the social elitists of the left. And I think that he will look at the economy, and that's what needs to be done. We're on the cusp of a third war. And I think he will try to alleviate that.
Right.
We must understand that he only has 2 years as a viable president and 2 years as a lame duck president. Mm-hmm. And so it's not the end of the world if he is elected. I think it would be the end of the world if Joe Biden is elected, because I don't know who's behind the curtain making decisions for him.
All right, Mary. Okay, first, I want to get to April and Sylvia and ask you guys about the next debate. It's set for September 10th. So at this point, when we step back and we take a look at what just happened, April, I'll start with you. Do you think it's necessary, and do you think it's even going to happen?
I do not think a September debate is on the table. Honestly, the debate from the other night, it showed me more now than ever that it is difficult and people should not be trusting the mainstream media, because so much time has been spent lying to the American people about how things are not that bad and that President Biden was doing a great job and that he's strong and there's nothing wrong with him. And we as a nation, we witnessed what many of us have been saying for the past 3 years, is that in his humanity, he's just not doing well. And that is okay. You know, if we say that we care about all Americans and we care about this country, what kind of love, compassion, and care have we demonstrated toward our commander-in-chief, regardless of his politics? For the Democrat Party to not give their constituents an option and primary President Biden shows me who the real dictators really are. We're not going to have a debate in September. I don't believe he's going to make it.
It is going to be really interesting, Sylvia, if this is going to move forward. It is on the books. What do you think is going to happen, Sylvia? And will it matter to you?
No, it won't matter to me. I think it's possible they'll have the debate. It's possible they won't. Again, I don't think anything is going to change my mind in terms of what I'm voting for party-wise. If we have a new candidate, I think it'd be interesting to see them. But at the end of the day, again, I think Trump's administration is way more dangerous for the future of this country. And interesting, April made a comment about HBCU funding earlier. That actually came from the Obama administration and not Trump's. So I'd like to see what policies Trump has in place that have actually...
That's not true.
That's not true.
All right. Well, we'll work this out.
Have you attended an HBCU? Because I have. And that's not true.
All right, we're going to leave it there. Go ahead.
Again.
Last word, Sylvia. Go ahead.
Again, I haven't seen any actual policies that Trump has put in place. His administration may have upheld some that were done before, but at the end of the day, the Biden administration is the one that has helped this economy. Trump's administration, again, added a deficit to our budget. Like, I don't know, economically, Trump lies so much. I'm sure it's easy to believe.
Sylvia, we got to leave it there, you guys. We could talk for another hour, but April, Sylvia, Mary, we want to thank you so much for coming back and joining us and telling us what you thought about the debate. Well, I'm sure we're going to be talking to you again. Thank you all very, very much. We'll see you soon.